Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopidana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa. Parivrajakacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace. Silabai Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Skandibhiti Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki. Harinama Sankirtana ki. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Dainitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamame Hari Priye Vansakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasai Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Sarabhyai Namaha, Om Sarabhyai Namaha, Om Sarabhyai Namaha, Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim, Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam, Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class, continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 10, entitled Departure of Lord Krishna for Dvārakā. Text number? 19. Yes. Aśrūyantāśiṣaḥ satyās tatra dvijeritāḥ. Na nānurūpānurūpāś cha nirguṇasya guṇātmanaḥ aśrūyantāśiṣaḥ satyās tatra dvijeritāḥ nānurūpānurūpāśya 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 nirguṇasya guṇātmanaḥ aśrūyantāśiṣaḥ satyās tatra tatra dvijeritāḥ nānurūpānurūpāś nirguṇasya guṇātmanaḥ aśrūyantāśiṣaḥ satyās
tatra tatra dvijeritāḥ
tatra tatra dvijeritāḥ
nānurūpānurūpāś
nānurūpānurūpāś
nirguṇasya guṇātmanaḥ
nirguṇasya guṇātmanaḥ aśrūyantāśiṣaḥ satyās tatra tatra dvijeritāḥ nānurūpānurūpāś nirguṇasya guṇātmanaḥ. One more. aśrūyantāśiṣaḥ satyās tatra tatra dvijeritāḥ nānurūpānurūpāś nirguṇasya guṇātmanaḥ aśrūyantāśiṣaḥ being heard aśrūyantāśiṣaḥ benediction satyās all truths tatra here tatra there dvijeritāḥ sounded by learned brahmanas na not anurūpa befitting anurūpah fitting cha also nirguṇasya of the absolute guṇātmanaḥ playing the role of a human being. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. It was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Kṛṣṇa were neither befitting nor unbefitting, because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. Kindly repeat after me. It was heard. I'm sorry. It was being heard. Here and there. That the benedictions paid. That the benedictions being paid. To Kṛṣṇa. Were neither befitting nor unbefitting, because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. Purport. At places there were sounds of Vedic benediction aiming at the personality of Godhead, Sri Kṛṣṇa. The benedictions were fitting in the sense that the Lord was playing the part of a human being, as if a cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthira. But they were also unfitting, because the Lord is absolute and has nothing to do with any kind of material relativities. He is nirguṇa, or there are no material qualities in him, but he is full of transcendental qualities. In the transcendental world, there is nothing contradictory. Whereas in the relative world, everything has its opposite. In the relative world, white is the opposite conception of black. But in the transcendental world, there is no distinction between white and black. Wow. Get ready for the spiritual world. Therefore, the sounds of benedictions uttered by the learned brahmanas here and there appear to be contradictory in relation with the absolute person. But when they are applied to the absolute person, they lose all contradiction and become transcendental. One example may clear this idea. Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa is sometimes described as a thief. He is very famous amongst his pure devotees as the Makanchor. He used to steal butter from the houses of neighbors at Vrindavan in his early age. Since then, he is famous as a thief, transcendental thief. But in spite of his being famous as a thief, he is worshipped as a thief. Whereas in the mundane world, a thief is punished and is never praised. Since he is the absolute personality of Godhead, everything is applicable to him. And still, in spite of all contradictions, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. A translation again, it was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Kṛṣṇa were neither befitting nor unbefitting because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. So in the purport, Prabhupada speaks about Kṛṣṇa as being nirguṇa, which in our understanding means without qualities, but specifically it means without material qualities, because the Lord is full of unlimited transcendental qualities. And therefore, from a material point of view or material calculation, we actually cannot properly understand or properly appreciate the Lord and his activities. Atā Sri Kṛṣṇa namādi na bhavet agrayam indriyai. This verse is explaining that with our indriyas, material senses, with our material mind, with our material intelligence, we cannot even begin to understand who is Kṛṣṇa, and therefore we cannot understand his different activities that he performs when he descends in this material world. So atā Sri Kṛṣṇa namādi na bhavet agrayam indriyai sevan mukhe jivado swayamiva spuratyada. One can only understand the transcendental nature and the transcendental activities of the Lord sevan mukhe ijivado. Actually beginning with the tongue, beginning with the process and the activities of seva or devotional service. Just like also Lord Brahma, he is explaining in the Brahma Samhita that no matter how intelligent or learned one may be, simply by reading the Vedic literatures, which are full of descriptions of the transcendental nature of the absolute truth, which are full of descriptions of the absolute realm of Vaikuntha, the world of Vaikuntha. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. Vedeshu durlabham. Vedic literatures are very difficult to understand. As a matter of fact, purposely, the Lord has hidden, has concealed within the Vedic literatures both transcendental knowledge as well as material knowledge. You know how this whole universe is working, how the cosmic manifestation comes to be, isn't it? How the planets are just not colliding every second day or every moment. Although there are at times collisions, but generally it's like, since our birth, all of us, when we look in the sky, all the stars are not clashing with one another, so there's a whole order, there's a whole system. And it is, well, just like Kṛṣṇa explains also in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakto sime sakacheti rahasyam hietadutamam. I am speaking this knowledge to you, my dear Arjuna, because you are my bhakta, my devotee, and my friend, bhakta and sakha. Bhakto sime sakacheti rahasyam hietadutamam. This is very mysterious knowledge, transcendental knowledge. But not only is transcendental knowledge mysterious, it becomes even more mysterious. It is very confidential, very confidential. And that is why, when we say, Kṛṣṇa says, right, Janma karma same divyam, my activities, my appearance, my birth in the material world is all divyam, transcendental. So naturally, those who are karmis cannot understand. Actually, there are many scholars who try to study, who actually do. They study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. They study different parts of the Vedas. They study Bhagavad Gita. But they study it, from material perspective, from material point of view, with their limited, imperfect, faulty material intelligence. Some scholar means they have some kind of brain power, some kind of intelligence, but actually they become bewildered. And even the devotees of the Lord also become bewildered, because the Lord is, just like here, mentioning that befitting, unbefitting. We try to offer prayers to the Lord. We try to praise the Lord, but actually, all of our whatever words we can say, whatever praise we can offer to the Lord, is like a small baby, broken words. But the father and the mother, they appreciate, isn't it, the broken words of the child, because it's done out of simplicity. So this is what is being referred to here. How, Prabhupada also gives the famous example of Makanchor, Kṛṣṇa. He doesn't steal only the butter, he steals also the gopis' cloth. He is a very naughty, mischievous personality from his childhood, actually. And in many ways, that is what makes Kṛṣṇa so attractive. And we are on the verge, of course, of Kartik. We're on the verge of Kartik, so this is like a nice introduction, preparing us for, because many wonderful festivals begin from Friday, actually, which is the first day of Kartik, right? Damodar Mas.
Yes.
Damodar Masa. So that's why we have chosen that day for two special events. What are the two special events? Huh? Varnashram College. You're really up to date, huh? Yeah, we are having the inauguration of our VCF Kartik semester 2024. Just testing. Yeah, from 10:30 to 12. So we don't expect to have thousands of people present, but the few devotees who are coming, some of them are already here as teachers, and the few, at least one of them will arrive before, on the 17th, right? Yeah, Kalarupa Prabhu, flying all the way from, God, Togo. You know where Togo is? You have failed your geography lessons. Togo, West Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. I won't mention other names of even less even less known countries. So on that day we are, this coming Friday, very important day for all of us here. We are officially beginning our 2-month series of courses. I think it's quite appropriate, even during Bhagavatam class, to give a little plug. And the second reason why this Friday is important, maybe less known to most devotees sitting here, but should be known to a few.
Inauguration of Swami.
No. Well, actually, yes. So there's 3 reasons. I forgot about that. Yeah, we're also inaugurating our office.
Yes.
Yeah, we're inaugurating our office. That means you have to really get on our mystery for the windows and door.
17.
Well, that's one day before. That's fine. Yeah, 17th. So finally, we're going to have like an office. You're going to have an office, just like we were reading about the 7 constituents of a perfect kingdom. Office means fort. Yes, because office means you have to be peaceful. You have to be able to do your work without so much anxiety. So yeah, ideal place to have a fort. I mean, to have an office is in a fort, especially. A modern day version of a fort is actually office. Yeah, right. So that's second reason, and the third reason, which is maybe more difficult to know, but I will tell right now. On that day, the first day of Damodar Mas, we are also launching
Varnashram website.
Very good. Haribol. If I had a garland, I would give you one. But anyways, yeah, we're launching finally, after quite some time, the official website of this project, and I guess many other projects as well. And what is the name of that?
Varnashram Wave.
Huh?
Varnashram Last Wave.
Yes. www dot, as they say, when making reference to or giving a link to a website. So this is a new website that we hope will become nicely accepted. I'm sure it will be. So Varnashram, but spelled in a very unique way, because it's dealing with the media, social media. So it's varnashram spelled with an H, but without the A. Varnashram, continuing the last wave. Why varnashram, the last wave.com, yeah. Okay, why? You see, so many things remain even today concealed. And we talk about Vedas, Vedic knowledge, Vedic literatures contain all kinds of concealed, hidden knowledge. And our business actually is to unveil, uncover, discover so many aspects of the Vedic knowledge, yeah. So, yes, Krishna Charan Prabhu, who's hiding. Yes. Just move a little bit.
It is the last wave of the four waves of
The last wave of the
4 waves.
of the 4 waves. What does that mean? The last wave of the 4 waves. That would be a good title somewhere, you know? The last wave of the 4 waves.
Yes.
What are they talking about? Can you explain? Briefly.
In his essay on Gita Nagari,
In his, whose essay?
Prabhupada,
Huh?
Srila Prabhupada,
In Srila Prabhupada's essay on Gita Nagari.
I wanted to say that in his essay on Gita Nagari, Srila Prabhupada describes 4 movements.
In the essay, I'm just repeating actually because your voice is not quite coming in, but in the essay of Gita Nagari by Srila Prabhupada, he speaks about 4 movements. Is it?
Yes.
What are those 4 movements?
The first movement is called Sankirtan movement.
The first movement is called Sankirtan movement. What does that mean? The whole Krishna consciousness is about Sankirtan movement. Now it's become only one of 4. What does Sankirtan movement mean?
Mainly book distribution and Harinam.
Mainly book distribution and Harinam. Correct, in that context. And then?
Second movement is temple worship.
Yes, temple worship movement is the second movement. That means?
Establishing temples and
installing deities of the Lord. Yes. Number 3, we'll ask him.
Spiritual initiation, giving the initiation.
You don't sound so convinced. Spiritual initiation movement, yeah, correct. What does that mean?
Giving the initiation for the new people.
No, we don't give initiation to new people.
Making
We train. Yeah, giving training and education to new people and to not so new people also, preparing them to become committed to the mission of Lord Chaitanya, and if they are very committed, then they will understand the importance of taking initiation. Yeah, so that's why Prabhupada called it spiritual initiation movement, which in many ways in our present day context within ISKCON means congregational preaching, different congregation. For example, youth preaching is a congregation of young people. Life membership is also a specific congregation. Village preaching. So we have Namhata preaching, we have Bhakti Vriksha preaching, what is, the Bhaktivedanta Institute. Yeah, Bhaktivedanta Institute. So that's, preaching to the scientists. That is also preaching. So these are like the ones, the 3 of the 4 that are more known, more understood, and still followed or practiced within our society. And now we come to the 4th. The one that is more hidden?
Classless society movement.
Classless society movement. Now you're really losing your audience. What does classless society movement mean?
The society in which the people follows varnashram.
Why is it called classless society? Why did Prabhupada choose that word, classless society? It's a good question. And for all good questions, there are good answers. Classless society. So Prabhupada, in one very interesting statement, he makes many statements. In many places, he refers to classless. In one statement, he mentions the perfect classless society is Vrindavan. Why? Because all the residents of Vrindavan are totally absorbed in Krishna's seva. They're all devotees. Actually, in that Vrindavan, they're all pure devotees of Krishna. So even though they may be doing different activities, some are looking after cows, some are farming, some are Krishna has a few Brahmana friends, some are Brahmanas also. They're speaking about giving instructions and whatnot. But all of them are engaged in devotional activities. So that is what we know, as nicely explained by our more recent acharyas, beginning with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as Daiva Varnashrama, isn't it? Daiva. Actually, the word Varnashrama, Prabhupada explains, means, in the Bhagavatam actually, he speaks about Sanatan Dharma and Varnashrama as being divine culture. Divine culture. Daiva actually means divine, isn't it? The word, we find the word Daiva in the Bhagavad Gita and so many places. The most important factor in our life is the Daiva factor. Right? There are 5 factors needed for any activity to be successful. The person, the place, the activity, the program, and tools. The last and most important factor is just like, somebody goes into a hospital emergency and they find out he has multiple, blockages in his heart. So they perform surgery and the chances of his survival are like 1 out of 100. But he survives. Then somebody else goes into the hospital, not in emergency, and he gets an operation on his toe and he dies. These things happen. So the Daiva factor, most people don't understand the Daiva factor. The divine factor means Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa, if he wants us to live, we'll live, even if the chances are 100 to 1 or less. Yeah. So when we read Shastra, when we discuss about Shastra, our attempt should be to try always to understand, to try and find the Daiva factor, the divine factor, which Kṛṣṇa conceals, purposely conceals. Just like one obvious example, easy to understand. Where is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra found in the Bhagavad Gita? It's not there. Where is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra found in the Srimad Bhagavatam? It's in the purports, but it's not in the text. Where is the most worshipable of all personalities in Vrindavan to be found? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimati Radharani. Actually, she's there, but she's concealed. Where is a Yuga avatar mentioned in the Shastra? In the Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, he comes as hidden, concealed avatar incarnation. So there are many things that we simply cannot, with our limited and faulty senses, mind and intelligence, we cannot understand. We need to understand Shastra Chakshu. Shastra Chakshu, through the eyes of Shastra. Through the eyes of Shastra, and the eyes of Shastra are opened or revealed to us through Guru Parampara, through our Vaishnava Acharyas. Yeah. So therefore, in the Absolute, there cannot be relativity or contradictions. We live in a world of contradiction. The most obvious contradiction or opposite, Prabhupada gives here, black and white. There's no black and white in the spiritual world. Prabhupada is telling. But there's unlimited variegatedness, variety. We get a glimpse of that, and again, Kartik, autumn.
Yes.
Yeah, the most attractive, most important month of the year, just about to begin. Yeah. So I'll just read the verse again, and then if there's any comment or question, we can take a few minutes. If we're not, let's see, 43, yeah. 19. It was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Kṛṣṇa were neither befitting nor unbefitting, because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. So Kṛṣṇa is so expert that when he appears in the material world, vast majority of people just think he's one of us. A bit maybe special, but he's a human being. Avajanantimam mudha manushim tanumasritam bhav. What is it? Param bhava ajananto. My supreme and transcendental nature, people cannot understand. Yeah. It can only be actually understood. It's like Prabhupada says that only a handful of people, when Kṛṣṇa performed his pastimes 5,000 years ago, only a handful of people actually could understand, could accept Kṛṣṇa as God, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So any comments or questions? Opposition, contradiction?
What is the difference between Varnashram and Daiva Varnashram?
The word Daiva. What is the difference between Varnashram and Daiva Varnashram? Actual Varnashram, real Varnashram, is meant to be Daiva Varnashram. Daiva Varnashram means actually not only spiritual, but Daiva Varnashram in our Vaishnava context and understanding means Kṛṣṇa has to be the center. So there is what is called Daiva Varnashram, and the opposite is called asuric varnashram. In other words, when Kṛṣṇa is not in the center. Actually, varnashram exists even today. Then why are we trying to establish varnashram? Varnashram cannot not exist. Why? Because varnashram means based on the three gunas, the three modes of material nature. And when in the material world do the three gunas not exist? Material world means the three modes of material nature. The three modes of material nature means varnashram. But when Kṛṣṇa is missing, there are different levels of asuric mentality, isn't it? That's why 2,500 years ago, Lord Buddha rejected the Vedas, rejected varnashram, rejected the Brahmanas because they had become polluted. The system created by Kṛṣṇa was being manipulated, isn't it? People were misusing Kṛṣṇa's system. So that's what Kṛṣṇa explains in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. Whenever this knowledge becomes tampered with by those who are not in pure consciousness, it becomes changed, isn't it? So therefore there's a need to re-establish, to again present or speak the Bhagavad Gita, which Kṛṣṇa did 5,000 years ago. So in a similar way, just like 200 years ago, 150 years ago, when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur began his preaching, we spoke about this before, how the very word Vaishnava or Vaishnavism was considered very impure, and it was actually, because people in the name of being devotees or followers of Lord Chaitanya, in the name of Vaishnavism, in the name of being devotees, were performing all kinds of sinful activities. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had to re-establish the glories of Vaishnavism. And here we are, October 2024, and a very important aspect of a very critical, a very urgently needed aspect of Prabhupada's movement is to re-establish the glories of varnashram. And seeing it, understanding it as an integral part of dharma, an integral part of Sanatana Dharma for those who are in the material world. Those who are still either grossly or subtly affected or influenced by any of the modes of material nature. And this is the statement being made by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. A very important statement, a very powerful statement in his Sojana Toshani. I just discovered actually, not too long ago, that the Sojana Toshani, which is one of the important writings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, has actually, it was written in Bengali, has been translated in English. And one devotee, one dear devotee from Hyderabad, Vasudham Prabhu, actually gifted to me. It's on my library shelf.
Yes, sir.
That you get to clean, that you cleaned the other day, yeah?
Yes.
Gifted to me the 8 volumes. The one devotee, I didn't know actually, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, the whole history to that. But anyways, so he translated these teachings, actually, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has started to translate from Bengali to English. I don't know the details of how much was translated, but anyways, now it's fully translated, and the title is called The Harmonist. Not only The Harmonist, but The Harmonist as it is, like Bhagavad Gita as it is. And it's full of thick nectar because it's written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it's still largely unknown. That would be a wonderful seminar to give on the harmonist. I think I might do that. Yeah, because it was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur who said that when that day will come when the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur will be widely spread and known all over the world, then at that time, the world will become ripe for Krishna consciousness to firmly become established as the main and only, we could say, universal religion of the world, which means actually Sanatana Dharma. So that is the difference between Varnashram and Daiva Varnashram. Daiva Varnashram means Krishna in the center, whereas ordinary Varnashram means, and there are different levels, because in the Bhagavad Gita, one of the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita is the divine and the demoniac, the Sura and Asuras, devotees, and there's only two. In other words, there's only two kind of people in the material world: the devotees and the non-devotees, the Nastik and Astik, the non-believers and the believers. And there's so many shades or differences, even amongst both, actually. So we are promoting especially Daiva Varnashrama, the center being Krishna. That means automatically that the center of all activities within Daiva Varnashrama is Bhakti. And that is why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also makes another important statement. Well, I never came around to mention the first one, is that Varnashrama is for the Vaishnavas in their conditioned state. Pure Vaishnavas are not in any conditioned state, but it's like asking, there's devotee and then there's pure devotee. There's Vaishnava and then there's pure Vaishnava. So Varnashrama, this is a statement by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, is for the Vaishnavas who are still in their conditioned state. And Varnashrama is also for those who are not Vaishnavas, because they are even more conditioned. Right? And the other statement made by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is that when one has this understanding, this consciousness in playing out different roles within the system of Varna and Ashrama, then all of those activities, when performed in that consciousness, do not create karmic reaction. So it means that everything is a question of consciousness. Yeah. That's one of our favorite topics. And so many aspects are there. Any last quick question, comment? Okay.
Krishna says Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarna Maya system, Guna Karma Vivaka
Yes, yes.
So Kṛṣṇa established Chaturvarna, means Varnashram, for his bhakti. So we can say only Varnashram. Why we say Varnashram? You answered.
Yes.
But,
So then, if I answered, why you ask?
so he not say Kṛṣṇa in the verse not say Daiva Varnashram.
Yes. So we're not following Krishna.
We can say only. Okay.
Now, Krishna, when Krishna speaks about, in that verse that you mentioned, yeah, he speaks about Varna, doesn't speak about Daiva Varna.
Varnashram means Daiva Varnashram, means for Krishna Bhakti.
Yes, yes,
Not demigod bhakti that are not Varnashram.
yes. So we need to understand, as we were mentioning a little while ago, and as explained by our acharyas, we need to see through the eyes of Shastra with the help of our Vaishnav acharyas. So our more recent Vaishnav acharyas, beginning especially with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, understanding, knowing that the Varnashrama system had been practically destroyed, demolished, to emphasize that the real Varnashram is when we have Krishna in the center. They introduce the term Daiva Varnashrama. Isn't it? Because actually, as you rightly point out, when Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita and other places in the Bhagavatam, we don't really find, very rarely we will find the word Daiva in front of Varnashrama. Because Varnashrama is meant to be and meant to mean Daiva. Varnashrama is meant to refer to Bhakti, devotional service to Krishna. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says, Vedaisya sarvair aham eva vedyo, Vedanta krit vedavit eva chaham. But most people cannot find Krishna so easily in the Vedas, but Krishna is telling in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the goal and the purpose. I am the object of Vedic knowledge. So again, Krishna is concealed, Bhakti is concealed, and can only be found or understood, realized by those who are purified in consciousness. Yeah. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Pimanandi.
Jai